we need more glucose than non-autistic brains do. And I was like, that can't possibly.
Hi guys. So this video is talking about how autistic brains need more glucose. And this video is based off of another video that a creator who talks about a lot of viral and genetic changes mentions. This creator also says that we don't need to be so concerned about the folate cycle. And what I would like to discuss with you is glucose is just scratching the surface of the metabolic dysregulations that are happening in your brain. And I would like to give you some education about those issues because researchers are really not diving into the metabolics behind these issues. They like to look at genes without looking at the endocrinology side. And for my side, I'm a nurse practitioner who has a previous zoology degree, almost minored in chemistry, went and got my BS in, practiced ICU, trauma, hospice, went back, got my master's, practiced endocrinology, internal medicine, urgent care, and hospice again before I started studying the autonomic nervous system. So what I'm going to walk you through is why autistic brains need more glucose. And the first thing we're going to talk about is how we metabolize glutamate. And we know that most autistics have more glutamate in their brain. Some don't have enough in certain areas, but generally it's elevated glutamate. So I want to talk to you about how you metabolize excess glutamate because it is neurotoxic, right? It's really cool because it makes us create more neural pathways, which is why autistics tend to be a little smarter, ADHD too. But there are some bad things about that, and we're going to talk about that. So one of the ways that we metabolize glutamate is we take it from glutamate to GABA. GABA is more of your brake. Glutamate's like green light, GABA's red light. But what you need in order to go from glutamate to GABA is B6. That's a cofactor. So what's another way that we metabolize excess glutamate? Well, we take glutamate and cysteine and we use the enzyme GCL. And what do we need to get this down until you've got glutathione? Well, you need B6, but you also need THF. What's THF, you might be asking? THF is tetrahydrofolate, right there at the top of your folate cycle. And so now we can see why a variant, and I'm not just talking MTHFR. I'm talking when you have a variant in your folate cycle, and you can see that's a whole cycle. It's not just MTHFR. But if your MTHFR isn't working well or your MTR, then you're not necessarily going to be able to get as much tetrahydrofolate as you need to break glutamate down, are you? Another issue is that we see elevated arginine levels in patients with autism. And why might that be? Two reasons, most likely. One, metabolism of glutamate results in arginine. Two, that if you're in methionine restriction, then you're going through the folate scavenger pathway, and you have to make arginine to do that. And what's the issue with elevated arginine? Well, that goes through your urea cycle, and that results in ammonia. And what have we found in patients with autism? Children? Elevated ammonia levels. So you follow this pathway, and what you realize is if you have variants in these pathways and they get dysregulated, then you could have too little B6, you could not have enough tetrahydrofolate, and that is going to impact how you can metabolize glutamate out of your system. And now we have a big whole metabolic mess on our hands, don't we? And to just tell people your brain needs more sugar is, like I said, scratching the surface. It is a band-aid on a metabolic dysregulation. And so is telling people that just because you don't have elevated homocysteine levels, that an MTHFR variant is not a big deal. I don't want to criticize providers or researchers, but the truth is they don't do their homework. Not very well. They They don't venture into other organ systems or specialties to see what is actually going on so that we can give patients the full picture so that they can appropriately take care of their health. We get a partial picture, and then we start giving people advice like we actually know exactly what we're discussing. And so I just want you to be aware, yeah, glucose, that's great, but ask why. Why do our brains need more glucose? There's a reason.